Dela writes, my MVVs, welcome.
They said it was very terrifying. Like the news was so terrifying to everyone as diviners, 7 diviners who were invited into the palace, declared that the space where Ebony said she was beaten by cats, do not look like cat bite whatsoever, that it was beginning to look like snake bite. The atmosphere in the palace changed drastically after Ebony's terrifying encounter with a black cat. It wasn't just palace gossip anymore. What was initially bruised off as another midnight drama had now taken a deeply spiritual turn. Ebony herself has not stopped trembling since that night, but no one could have predicted how quickly things would escalate or the way that the next revelation would carry. In the days that followed the cat incident, palace healers tried everything they knew. Leaves were burnt, local ointment were applied and prayers were offered, but the wound left by the black cat on Ebony's arm, okay. No, not they said some people were saying the legs, but some people were saying the thighs in her thigh, that one of the cats was very big and the cat scratched her, like wanted to climb and beat her around her thigh area, okay. And they said that wound that is left, okay, the scratch and the wound began to swell, unusually becoming darker and more painful. She stopped sleeping, she stopped eating, she began to mutter in her sleep and flinch at any sudden sound because of fear, okay. Fear and confusion took over her. Eventually, the royal elders decided it was time to consult the diviners. No, before this event, Ebony had been invited. Her NGO, she has an NGO. They were doing something in somewhere there in Ile-Ife. She was supposed to be there by right, knowing that, of course, it's her NGO. So they said she came so late, very unlike her. They say she's very time conscious. And of course, she will appear very well, smiling and all of that. But this time she arrived very, very late. And she sat down there. They said while she was seated, this was after the cat incident. She was looking left and right and all of that. Everybody could see the uneasiness in her. People knew that something was wrong. People knew that, this is not the normal Ebony they know. They knew something was wrong. But all of a sudden, the middle of the event where she was supposed to speak, she got up and she was acting as though she was like she was going through pain, touching her thighs and all of that, rubbing her thigh, okay, while she was in that event, rubbing her thigh. People said they were wondering. Nobody knew what was happening. It was later the information came that she had an encounter, this cat encounter in her apartment, okay, and they said she woke up unannounced and she left the event. That was when they knew something was happening. Now, they said that space where she got that scratch and the bite began to swell on, usually becoming darker and even more painful. She stopped sleeping. Fear and confusion took over. Eventually, the royal elder decided it was time to consult the diviners, okay? The diviners arrived from the sacred hills of Ijesha and from Ile-Ife, most revered group. There were elders in white garments, some barefooted, carrying calabashes and cowries. These were not ordinary men. They are called only when things had gone beyond human understanding. Everyone in the palace stood still. The moment they arrived, the tension was thick, and even the bravest servant avoided Ebony's wing of the palace. The divination took place in the Obatala shrine courtyard, an area reserved for serious spiritual consultation. Ebony, weak and unable to, really walk well, she was limping the entire time, and being here was carried to the center of the circle. Her left arm now, and her left leg visibly swollen with what appeared like snake scale marking around the bite was exposed. One of the oldest diviner, a man who had spoken in 3 years, opened his mouth and declared with a shocking voice, "This is no longer a cat bite. What bite what beat this woman was not of this world. It has now become a mark of the great Obatala himself, okay? The moment he said that, the entire palace went quiet. Not even, a word was said. What does that mean? One of the youngest elders, Oloris, yes, they said the Oloris, it was Blo Blo who asked, and another elderly woman asked, what does that mean? It means she's been mad. So apparently what they are beginning to say right now is that, Ebony did something and she was mad. One thing about life is that when you think you're too smart, you don't want to listen, a day will come where you would regret everything that you have done. What are we hearing if the information is correct? They said that, after everything that was done, Yanifa did her own, all the diviners, they did their own, they fortified everywhere. And that was how they were even successful with the full moon ritual, okay? They had already said that no woman would ever go out to bring anything into the palace again. No woman would be able to do that. If you do that, you do that to your own detriment. And that was why when Iyanifa was leaving, Iyanifa said, okay, take away immunity from these women so that they will not stay under your covering and be doing reprehensible things that they shouldn't do as wives to, the Ooni of Ife. And so, now, as we are hearing, if the information is correct, the diviner said Ebony needs to say what she brought into the palace. So apparently, she had gone maybe to bring something again. I told you, this is their thing, this is their fight is, it's either I win or I die trying, right? And so apparently she went from what they are saying that there's something she brought into the palace again to try and change the mind of Ooni of Ife. This is coming as a result of that stuff that she brought into the palace to try and change the mind of the Ooni of Ife. And this is like a repercussion. You know that after everything has been done, the rituals have been done, the palace is strengthened. The palace is not like before where you can get up and do the way you like or do whatever you want and get away with it. Right now, if you try anything, it will be on your head. They have been warned time and time again. But when jealousy is leading you, you may not, just like the mother cried and said that she has lost her path and lost her way because of Olori Naomi. The thing is that jealousy is something that would drive you so bad to a point where you may never, ever be able to get yourself back again. Ebony has been warned time and time again not to try certain things, that should she try them, she will pay. And this is exactly what is going on. But right now, they say efforts are being made to try and rescue everything so that, things do not get worse than they are right now. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget, these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media.